BC, Vinyl Community. Chris, tunes from the Man Cave. Just turn this down. Jazz Vinyl Tag 2022. A few things to say before I start. One, I'm not drinking a beer. I'd like to be Chris, you're usually enjoying a beverage, but I have some friends coming over later. So I'm having a coffee. Don't want to start too early. Doing a steak and wine night. I'm sure some beers will be consumed as well. Just threw this on actually as a soundtrack. This is Bishop Norman Williams, and I started it for the video and I was like, no, we need to hear this from the beginning. So I started again after I pressed play because this first track sounds amazing. This is a cheap record I picked up before going on vacation. It was in my new arrivals. I actually haven't even spun it yet, but this sounds killer right now. Who's on bass? Curtis Olson. Never heard of him. This is on Teresa Records. Cool. Okay, so Jazz Vinyl Tag. I've never done a vinyl tag. I'm not very good at, going with the trends of the vinyl community, not because I don't want to. I'm just kind of lazy and don't really do stuff. I used to back in the day do some themed videos and stuff, but it's been a while. Chris, we haven't really ever chatted, interacted. I've commented on some of your videos. I don't think you've ever watched a video of mine, but that's an assumption. I really don't know. But I love the videos you put out. I love your energy, your enthusiasm. It seems like you've built so many friendships from the vinyl community, rooted in the music we love, which is what this is all about. So yeah, just wanted to jump on and contribute, participate. I've seen other vinyl tag things go and doesn't always, some have spoken to me more than others, but just always a lot of work. But jazz obviously is my main genre that I have in my collection. This is all jazz behind me, so I figured I'd jump in. At first, when I thought, I was like, damn, 22 questions, it's gonna be hard. And in a way it was easier than I thought, but harder than I thought. So it was easy to find stuff to answer all these questions. The problem is I was pulling out too much stuff. I could, one, find multiple for all of these. I'm sure all of you could, and then a lot of them fit into multiple categories, so I might cheat a bit and bounce back and forth, but let's get into it. I think that's all I wanted to preface with. So I had to write down the questions. I wrote them on an old inner sleeve from a pile of old inner sleeves that I'm not using. Okay, so favorite find of 2021. Right off the bat, I'm cheating here. I have two. First one is a find, as in it's new to me, but I didn't find it in the wild, but I'm gonna share it because it's the most wow record that I never thought I would own, that made its way into my collection in 2021. So that is Sun Ra Orchestra, Sleeping Beauty, with the track Springtime Again, Door of the Cosmos, and Sleeping Beauty. While I have known about Sun Ra for many, many years, I did not know about this record until I watched the Madlib Radio France, Radio Vinyl YouTube video put out by Radio France. This was many, many years ago when it came out. And I picked up the reissue, and it was just an album that really spoke to me, that I absolutely loved. So a later 70s Sun Ra session, and I never thought I'd own any form of vintage El Saturn or Saturn copy. And then a vinyl community member posted one up on Instagram saying he wanted to sell it, he wanted to keep it within the somewhat local, although he wasn't in the same city as me. It's someone who's in Canada as well that I've interacted with, and I just couldn't believe it when I got this record. And I've enjoyed it. I've had friends over and blew them away with it who they didn't know it, and so I can't believe that I have this. But to me, a find is getting your fingers dirty, hitting the shops, putting the work in. And I didn't go through all my finds. As I was going through the shelves, I came across this one. I was like, that was a crazy find. So this was a record that wasn't on my radar, it wasn't on my want list, never heard of it, knew nothing about it. And when I saw it, I was like, oh, what's this? And I checked it out and I was curious. I ended up grabbing it. And then when I just listened to it and then read about it, and I was just like, I can't believe that I found this. This is Jazz Epistle, the Jazz Epistles. I guess is the name of their group, and the album Jazz Epistle. This is a South African jazz record from 1960, I believe. It's the early 60s. I don't remember the date. So how this made its way into a local book/record store in Montreal, I have no idea. This is an original pressing on Continental Records. So in this group, you'd be familiar with Hugh Masekela and Dollar Brand, maybe some of the other artists that I'm not familiar with. So yeah, and the record's in good shape. So, oh, sorry, my phone's dying here. And it's a great record. So it shocked me. It really did. And the more when I read about how special it was, and what the scene at the time, and I was just like, how the hell did this record make its way to Montreal? Early 60s South African jazz group, Jazz Epistles. Check it out. I think you can sample it online. So those are my two favorite jazz finds of 2021. Favorite reissue of 2021? So this is what I pulled. There's probably some others, and I haven't listened to this in a while, but when I did get it, I was playing it all the time and I absolutely loved it. And this is Kosuke Mine. I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly. The album is First. Larry Ridley plays on here. This was part of the BBJ Jazz Masterclass series on 45 RPM. And this is just a great post-bop modal record. There's so much good Japanese jazz to discover, and I literally only have a few of them. Not something I'm after to get originals, because it's just a whole other world and crazy, but this is one worth checking out. If it's just online, check it out online, or if you can still grab the reissue, highly recommend you do so. Favorite new jazz release, here's one I'm gonna double up on again. In terms of like current artists, new music, although this isn't even new music, it's newly recorded, but it's old songs. Muriel Grossman, I think someone else showed this already. I didn't buy a lot of new jazz releases in 2021, or there's probably some I'm forgetting about, to be honest. But anyway, this I love all her stuff that I have. This is no different. This is they were recording old songs again with her group from different songs from different albums, and it's really well done. So if you don't have any of her stuff, check it out on any streaming service, or pick up a record of hers if you can find. They're all great. But one of my favorite things to listen to this year, and this is archival, so it is a new jazz release. It's never been released before, and this is Organic Music Theater. So this is Don Cherry. Don Cherry's new researches featuring Nana Vasconcelos. I wouldn't really classify this as jazz. I'm including it here because it is Don Cherry, but it is communal. It is, you could call it fusion, but it's really not music that sounds commercial in any way. It's very community based, and a blend of different music from different cultures. And it really is beautiful. It's incredibly moving to me. Obviously, when the world, if you see a lot of talk around like audiophile jazz, this is far from that. This sounds great for what it is, but this is incredible. Check it out if you don't know this. Organic Music Theater. Okay, so Sax Led. This, actually I was going through my shelves here and I was like, where the hell is that record? And I remember I had played it a few months ago and put it away on the side. So I went and found it. So I'm including this as my pick for sax lead. This could also go in the last question, House on Fire, because this is just a record I could listen to all the time. So if I had to choose one, this might be it, because it just feeds my soul. It also could, be, I wouldn't say it's underappreciated, maybe an album more people should know about. I know it's a wanted record, it's gone up in value, and people do know about it, but a lot of people don't know about this, and this is just absolutely beautiful. This is Marion Brown Vista on Impulse. The green label will give you an idea of what year it is. I think it's 75, but anyway, between 74 and 76. Stanley Cowell plays on here. I want to say Cecil McBee. Who else do we have here? We have Reggie Workman on bass. Is it Reggie Workman throughout? Yeah, it's Reggie Workman on bass. Anthony Davis on Fender Rhodes. Stanley Cowell on piano. Who else? Jimmy Hops. There you go. So this is, yeah, recorded mostly in 1975, it looks like. This is just a deep, deep jazz record. Beautiful spiritual jazz. I know that term is overused, but really this is that, in my opinion. So if you've never heard this, you're having a rough day, or if you're not, do yourself a favor, check it out. Trumpet Led. So this is one of my favorite artists from the time I first discovered jazz, or first started experimenting with jazz, listening to jazz. Myself took the initiative to go out and buy. Lee Morgan's always been one of my favorite, and I have a ton of Lee Morgan records. The one I decided to pick, obviously everyone knows all the Lee Morgan records, but this late Lee Morgan, this is his last studio session. Obviously there's the Live at the Lighthouse. I'm not sure which one came out before, but this is just amazing, and obviously it's very different than his 60s hard bop stuff. Obviously we know with In a Search for a New Land, he was, you know, kind of hinted towards some different sounds, some exploring, but this has Harold Malburn, Bobby Humphrey, Billy Harper, Gratian Monker, Reggie Workman again, Jimmy Merritt, and Freddie Waits. Incredible. This is a really nice copy, little cutout. This is from the days when, you know, you'd see these around for 20 bucks Canadian. I miss those days. This, you know, wasn't an expensive record. Okay, guitar led, man, there was so many. I don't have a ton. You know what I struggled with was the trumpet, to be honest. I was going through my shelves, and obviously there's Lee, there's Miles, there's Freddie, and some others, but I was like, damn, there's not a ton of trumpet in my collection. Is it because, I don't know, or there's just fewer trumpet led groups maybe. I can't think of any that I feel like someone posted recently about trumpet sessions. Can't remember, on Instagram. Anyway, guitar, Gabor Szabo, Dreams. Everyone probably knows this record, but depends on your lane and where you're coming from. If you're more into 60s hard bop, traditional jazz, you might not know this record, and you should check it out. It's absolutely stunning. It takes you on a journey. Produced by Gary McFarland. I don't know the personnel that plays on it, other than Gary McFarland and Gabor. This is just a stunning album, and it's fitting of the title, Dreams. It really takes you to another place. This is on his label, Sky. I actually picked this up in San Diego the first time that I was there in 2017 from Steve, who I visited again recently and grabbed a whole bunch of other records. Definitely see a lot of more Gabor records in the West Coast, obviously, and just didn't see, actually I did see a copy of this one when I was there, but also gone up a lot in price. Already at 14 minutes and we're 6 questions in. Good job, Kieran. Okay, so piano led, man, there was a bunch. I pulled out a Dollar Brand record. I ended up switching it out for this one because this is just one of my absolute favorite albums. It's not expensive, or it didn't used to be. It's probably gone up a little bit, but even last year I remember checking, I was like, how is this still a $20 record? This is Stanley Cowell Trio, Illusion Suite on ECM, and another just like beautiful, well done album that just feeds my soul. Stanley Clarke, who's playing acoustic bass, and Jimmy Hops on drums. So piano trio. If you don't know this, get in your life. The one thing I wanted to say before, and I forgot, I'm just remembering now, is Chris, I do have a lot of 60s jazz, but definitely a smaller section. A lot of the stuff I'm showing is more late 60s, 70s and stuff like that. I started my journey in jazz listening to, you know, late 50s, 60s jazz, and I still love that stuff, but as I started exploring more, I definitely have bought a lot of later jazz, and I know you show and collect a lot of Blue Note stuff and more kind of like that 60s sweet spot jazz. Organ Lead, Brother Jack McDuff, Moon Rappin', killer, classic, Blue Note, late 60s, just stunning production on this. This is like a, you know, a crate digger, beat digger classic, obbligato. Whew. This could definitely also double as my favorite jazz funk LP. Soul jazz, jazz funk, I don't know what the difference is to you, but if you don't know that, definitely check it out. Trombone or tuba, it's supposed to be tuba. It's gonna be trombone because I don't think I have any tuba lead records, but I could be wrong. I definitely could have easily gone for the Evolution, which I saw Aiden showed. That's the one that popped to mind. Evolution would have also been a good one for the Sideman Question, because Lee Morgan plays on there. But what I will show is another Gratian Moncur record, New Africa. And this could also go under like underappreciated LP by an artist you love. And people who you know, a lot of people love this record, but so many people talk about Evolution and stuff, but you don't hear this mentioned as much. It's not on Blue Note. But regardless, love this record. This is on BYG Actuel out of France, Actuel 21, New Africa. Who else plays on here? That's a very good question. I don't remember. Roscoe Mitchell, Archie Shepp, Dave Burrell, Andrew Cyril, and Alan Silva. So at this point we're getting heavy, but this album, New Africa, is not so. It's heavy, but it's not free and like and dense. It's a beautiful track. So if you don't know that, Chris and everyone else, check out this New Africa LP by Gratian Moncur the third. Favorite jazz funk. This, I mean, yes, it's jazz funk. I almost at this point we're talking R&B, but this is just an amazing record. Donald Byrd, Places and Spaces, with the Mizell Brothers production. Just such a feel good, amazing production on here. The sound, at first when I heard it, I was like, the first time I ever dropped the needle on this, I was like, oh, this is different. It's not, you know, what I was expecting from Donald Byrd many years ago, but man, once you let this take you away, this is just such a uplifting, put you in a good mood record. Fun too. Fusion LP. I decided to go away from, let me just flip this Bishop Norman Williams LP. So Fusion typically, oops, didn't do that right. Fusion typically, think of jazz rock. That's like, you know, the kind of classic style of fusion. And I could have shown, I have some of those, I don't have a ton. And I picked up a couple really good ones this year actually. But what I decided to show is this record that I picked up a few months ago by Cannonball Adderley, who we all know. A lesser known album of his called The Happy People. And this fusion is of the Brazilian flavor, and so jazz and all types of Brazilian rhythms, percussion, vocals, just, you know, it's by no means your typical jazz album. It's a little bit more fusion, definitely like all his 70s stuff, you know, you have some funky stuff in there. There's even some jazz rock fusion that Cannonball does, but this one is definitely of the Brazilian variety, produced by David Axelrod, and it is Excellent. Underappreciated LP by an artist you love. So the first one I'm going to show is this Jackie McLean record. Jackie McLean, however people say it. And the Cosmic Brotherhood, New York Calling. I love this. I love all of Jackie McLean's Blue Note stuff, the early stuff, and the transition through the 60s and all the way through to this mid 70s record. And you don't hear people talk about this. I know, obviously, in the grand scheme of things, people know about this record, but not like all his other stuff. And it's so cheap. It's like, why? Like, yes, I get it. You want Blue Note, collectible, hundreds of dollars. You can get this for 15 bucks, and it's killer. So this is on Inner City. I'm assuming it was originally released on Steeplechase. I don't have a Steeplechase copy. This is, who's on here? So his son, Renee McLean, Billy Skinner on trumpet, Renee plays sax as well, Billy Galt on piano, who we'll get to later, James Fish Benjamin on bass, and Michael Carvin on the drums, or on the sticks, as Chris always refers to them as. So if you don't know this, and you like Jackie McLean, do yourself a favor and go check out this New York Calling record. Well worth it. I've gotten second copy and gifted it to people before. Okay, so this next one is LP by your favorite artist as a side. No, sorry, this next one is a live jazz LP. But this could also fall under underappreciated LP by an artist you love, because although, don't get me wrong, this album is appreciated. Tons of people love it. But in the grand scheme of the catalog of this artist, you don't see it spoken about, you don't see it posted, shared as much. And when I revisited this, I think in 2020, during COVID, I was blown away. I could not believe how good this was. So this is Gary Bart's NTU Troupe Home. And this is an amazing freaking live jazz album. Get this in your life. This is recorded in actual performance at a Left Bank Jazz Society concert in Baltimore, Maryland. He's from Baltimore, so that's why it's titled Home. And playing with him here is Woody Shaw on trumpet, Albert Daly on piano, Bob Cunningham on bass, and Rashid Ali on drums, recorded in 1969. So as far as Gary Bart's album goes, underappreciated, not spoken about too much, and definitely a killer live jazz LP. Check it out on Milestone. Supergroup album. I don't remember your definition of supergroup. I'm pretty sure like every jazz record here could be considered a supergroup. When you look at the lineup, most jazz records have killer lineups. But this one's always kind of struck me as an interesting combination, a summit of sorts. Definitely all legends coming together, and this is a well-known album. And this, I'm sure this might have already been shown. And this is Money Jungle by Duke Ellington, Charlie Mingus, and Max Roach. And this is a French mono pressing that I picked up this year that I'm very grateful to have. I have a US original that's not in the best shape, so I was happy to get this cleaner copy. Most of you, I'm assuming, know this and love this record, so I will move on. Live jazz, supergroup, 15, LP by your favorite artist as a sideman. I mean, my favorite artist, I don't know that I have one favorite artist. My first thought was Lee Morgan, and then I thought of Evolution. Then I pulled out Dipping, just as I was going through, Hank Mobley, because Lee Morgan's on there. But I do have many favorite jazz artists. There's not one, and we all love Pharoah Sanders. Chris, you included. Just finished my coffee here. Okay, so this is a record that is also, I would say, more people should know about, which is the next question. But I included it here for my pick as favorite artist as a sideman. It could also go under a live jazz LP that freaking cooks that most people don't know about. This is the Alex Blake Quintet featuring Pharoah Sanders, and this is a smoking session. Now Is the Time is the title, live at the Knitting Factory. I don't remember when this is recorded. Was it the late 90s? Was it the 2000s? My feeling is the 1999. So yeah, I knew it was somewhere around there. Alex Blake, Pharoah Sanders, John Hicks, who we know, Victor Jones, not familiar with, Neil Clark, percussion. This is a great record. I didn't know about it. I discovered it because a local shop had it posted, I think, on their Discogs many years ago. I think this is still relatively affordable. I don't know if there's copies for sale on Discogs or not, but sample it, check it out, see if it's your thing. I would assume it is. Smoking. Okay, that was 15. A record more people should know about. Any of these that you don't know would fall into that category. This is one that really struck me when I first heard it. I discovered it by digging in a shop. I had never seen it, never heard of it. Artist I was familiar with, and it just blew me away. Kind of like the Marion Brown Vista, just like love the energy. It just feeds my soul. This is Kahil Elzabar's The Ritual. That's the name of the group. Another Kind of Groove is the album, and this is with Billy Bang and Malachi Favors on Sound Aspects out of Germany. There's another one I have of theirs on the same label, which is good, but not as good. The other one's more free, percussive. This one is deep. This is my jam right here. Not an easy record to find, but sample it online, see if you dig it. This is from the late 80s. Don't have a lot of records from the late 80s, but I dig it. This Bishop Norman Williams is swinging. Okay, we're almost towards the end here. A record more people, we did it. 17, album by an artist that should have been bigger. So I didn't go back and watch your video, Chris. At first I interpreted this as an artist and then an album of his that should have been bigger. And that's probably what you meant, but the way I'm gonna share it is an album by an artist that should have been bigger. So that the artist should have been bigger, should be more well known, not the specific album. And this may be known to you, I've shared it before. This is the music of Billy Galt, who was on that Jackie McLean record that I shared earlier. And this is When Destiny Calls, and this is something you need to listen to. I'm talking to you, Chris, I'm talking to everyone watching this video. I've recommended this before to many people. You have Mode for Train on here. Warning to some, there are some vocals on here on some of the tracks, but this is just a deep, beautiful record. Jolie Wilson on vocals, as well as Ellen Deliston, who I don't know, Michael Carvin on drums, James Fish Benjamin, so similar group to the Cosmic Brotherhood Jackie McLean record, but you have Billy Skinner on trumpet and Bill Saxton on tenor sax. This is on Steeplechase. I think this actually did get also a Inner City release. It has kind of like a greenish cover, so it might be easier to find the Inner City. Nothing wrong with the Inner City release. This is an original Steeplechase pressing. Very grateful to have that. Okay, I would put this as an underappreciated LP by an artist I love. And I get why maybe it's not everyone's things, but I love it. But this is my choice for a vocal jazz album, and I know a lot of people aren't into the vocal jazz. And this is a gospel jazz record. So this is Max Roach, Lift Every Voice and Sing, on Atlantic Records from the early 70s, with the J.C. White Singers, so with the gospel group. So I can see why maybe this is not everyone's favorite Max Roach record, or it's lesser known for you know, traditional jazz heads. But this, as someone who loves gospel, is a really interesting record. It's a really moving record. The jazz personnel on here we're talking about, obviously Max Roach, who we all love, Cecil Bridgewater on trumpet, Billy Harper on tenor sax, George Cables on piano, Eddie Mathias on bass, who I'm not familiar with, Ralph McDonald on percussion. and then obviously the JC White Singer. So that is a killer all-star lineup. It's just, you don't see people sharing this one, maybe because they don't know about it, maybe because they don't dig the gospel vocals. But I do, so this is my choice for vocal jazz album, whether you qualify it as such or not. Not talked about album You Love. So I recently shared this one, Kenny Barron Trio Landscape on LimeTree in my recent finds. So you don't hear anyone, count down to phone dying, hold tight. You don't hear people talking about this one, and I freaking love it. But this is not my choice. But to preface the next one, that could qualify, but if you watch my videos, you know about that one already. What you may not have caught is this Kenny Barron Innocence record. Kenny Barron, great Muse records, everyone talks about them, everyone knows about them. People don't know about that Innocence record, about this Innocence record or this Landscape record. This one is dirt cheap, cheap heat. It's like 10 to 20 bucks and it smokes. He's playing Rhodes. If you dig Rhodes, it's late 70s. I never heard of this damn Wolf label. Maybe that's why it costs 10 bucks. But if you see this, grab it, sample it online. Kenny Barron is the man. Okay, a record you hope to find in 2022. There's many. I'll just say Pharoah Sanders on Indian Navigation. I don't think that's gonna happen. I'm not actually thinking I'm gonna find it, but that is one record that I had a chance to buy many years ago, and I didn't, and it was a huge regret. I had two records like that, and the other one recently showed up at my door, so who knows, maybe I'll get lucky and I'll find a way to procure this Pharoah Sanders record, but I'm not aggressively chasing it because it is over my price range. But Pharoah Sanders, Indian Navigation, putting it out there. A new release, looking forward to. I would say this Nat Birchall record, no, it's not Chasing Train. Something with train in the title. I just saw it today on Instagram actually. I didn't know, apparently they're all sold out on his Bandcamp, but he said it's getting a wider release than the previous one, which was Ancient Africa, which unfortunately I didn't grab on his Bandcamp because I never had trouble getting his records at some of the local shops. They would usually get them in. And that one, I guess he never distributed at all and it's sold out. So I have tons of Nat Birchall records from the past few years, but I missed out on that last one. But I'm looking forward to this new one. Similarly to Muriel Grossman, anything they do, anything Nat does, I really dig. I wouldn't say there is differences within his album, but you don't need to go out and get all of them. Similar to Muriel, they kind of all in the same vein, but all really well done. So check out Nat Birchall if you're not familiar, and I'm looking forward to that release this year. House on Fire, have to save one. This is a terrible question, as you mentioned. One, because there's more important things than records. Two, it would be horrible to lose all your records. Three, a house down the street or a condo apartment like I live in, same, you know, there's kind of like this same build all along my street here, townhouse condo type deal, and there's one just like mine, same unit, that caught fire and burnt. And I didn't see it when it was on fire. My girlfriend called me, she's like, did you see the house on fire? And I went and saw it this morning and it scared the shit out of me. I don't know exactly what happened. I believe a propane tank probably exploded. That's usually what happened in these fires. I don't know how that happens, but it scares the shit out of me. My barbecue's just over there. If ever would explode, this would all be bye-bye. So I don't like to think about it, although it was on my mind yesterday and still today. However, if I had to grab one record, that question kind of just like a nicer way to ask it could be like, what's, you know, your rarest record or most valuable, or one that means the most to you. Anyway, that Sun Ra record could definitely fit that bill, Sleeping Beauty. The Marian Vista could fit that bill, not in rareness or, you know, but just in terms of the music. The one that I just grabbed for fun to show, which is kind of in that same vein as, let's say, the Pharoah record that I don't own, just like, I can't believe I own a copy of this, and it is thanks to a vinyl community member many years ago, offered it up for sale to me, and this is Shanique Farah, First Impressions. Hopefully you grabbed the reissue of this if you don't have an original on Pure Pleasure that came out a few years ago, or even Superfly before that if you were hip to it. This is just an incredible mid-70s jazz record on the very collectible Strata East label. But forget about the label, just the music itself is incredible. If you don't know it, I recommend you check it out. That's it, 22 questions, 35 minutes in. If you watched all this, I can't believe it, but thank you. And I'll try to see what other jazz, I've seen a few videos that I watch of the Jazz Vinyl Tag. I don't know, I know Chris, you mentioned there hadn't been too many, but thanks for doing this. And honestly, I haven't been in my collection often, much recently. I was on vacation, and since I got back, I've just been listening to the stuff that I picked up while on vacation. So it was fun this afternoon. My girlfriend was out of the house, put on some of the new records, and just like go through the shelves and kind of just reconnect with the collection a bit, and listen. I even needle dropped a bunch of these and stuff. It was fun. So thanks for the activity, and be well. Peace, everyone.